Hello.
Hi, Hope.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's nice sunny out. Days are getting longer.
hmm
I think it's daylight savings next week. So
Do we lose an hour or
sp- spring forward. So yes, you go to bed
we lose an
later.
hour? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you think you're going to bed at 10, but you end up going to bed at 11, which is annoying, I think.
Is it? Hold on.
Yeah,
Or isn't
spring
it?
forward, fall back.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, in the fall, you think you're going to bed at 10, but you end up going to bed at 9.
Ah,
Yeah,
I see.
yeah. Like, or you're at
Okay.
the bar, you get an extra hour of last call.
Oh, right.
I
Although there won't be any open.
know.
Yeah.
But hey, the
Yeah.
numbers look to be getting better, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. So this week we're talking about student loans.
hmm
So I have to ask, like, when I like, so first of all, great idea. I think it's been in the news lately, so it's very topical. Um, so I have to ask, like from what I understand, I took out student loans. I took out a bunch of
Mm.
student loans from Ontario called OSAP, but I don't think you did. If I'm correct. So I was surprised that this was brought up as a topic.
Right. Yeah. So
So
I
how did
was
this come up?
fortunate enough
Hmm.
that my father paid for all my tuitions, which is
Okay.
great.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Yes. But my sister, on the other hand, well, her undergrad and masters were paid for
Mm.
by the parents, but then she decided to go to law school in US, and then that
Oh,
was like our parents just couldn't do that one.
that's a whole nother beast.
That's yeah, exactly. I think she like in total she had $300,000 loan by the end of law school. Yeah,
Like that's a
mortgage.
mortgage. That's a fucking
Yeah,
house.
yeah. And then I learned because I didn't know much about like the US student
Okay.
loan,
Yeah, which I
how it's
don't. Yeah.
structured, how that works. And so I asked my sister, I was like, oh, so like how does it work? So she told me there is a pool of money. I'm probably quoting it wrong, but
Sure.
certain amount, like let's say 40 to $50,000 is 0%. It's a 0% loan.
Okay.
So I guess like the government is kind of giving you okay, like up to this amount, it's 0%. You can take it out.
What's the
But
like?
then
What's the tenor? Like, how long? I wonder. Do you know?
oh, that I didn't ask. I'm
Okay.
not sure.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
But then afterwards, there are tiers. So if it's for just like university and college, then it's like 4 to 5% interest rate range. But if it's like master's or PhD type of like much higher education, then the interest rate goes up to like 7%. Isn't that
Really?
interesting?
Wow, that is very
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, it is super fascinating. But I am assuming it's probably like, okay, your earning potential will go up
Mm,
as you get into like say MBA, let's say, right?
right.
And you're
Right.
taking a loan out. But then the government's smart in a way. It's like, oh, you going to MBA? Okay. Like I know you're gonna make about okay, so you could probably, like maybe you should pay 7%, not 4%.
Yeah, but like the principle is just so large. Like it's
Yeah.
just you know what I mean? Like come on. Like you're the government. You have other income revenues. You tax the rest
Yeah.
of it. Like why? Like
Yeah.
it's yeah. So
I
that I didn't know that. Like
yeah.
my understanding, like my knowledge of the U.S. like student loans is like I don't know anything other than the fact that post-secondary education is ridiculously expensive.
hmm
Um, and we're fortunately in Canada, like it's nowhere like it's expensive, but relative to the United States, I think Canadian university tuition. I don't know how it compares to the rest of the world, um, but I know for sure next to the United States, like we're very lucky that we don't have to fucking spend that much money on a
hmm
post secondary education. Wow, what's it like in Korea? Do you know?
In Korea, it's uh it's like similar to Canada. It's not as expensive. Not at
Okay,
all.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So
It's not that bad.
is it the okay? So I don't know what the numbers are, so I'm just going with like my
Sure, sure,
life
sure.
experience. But most people that I grew up with, the overwhelming people that I grew up with that I know that went to post secondary, all ended up getting some sort of loan. Whether it might not have necessarily been for all of their post-secondary education. It might have been for 1 year, it might have been for a couple of years. But I think everyone that in my social circle, not everyone, most people in my social circle had to get some sort of financial assistance. Do you know if that's the case in Korea?
In Korea, no, I would not. But then my social circle was more like the parents had some money,
Sure. Okay.
like middle class. If you're middle class, I think culturally what happens is like because the parents really want their kids to go to college, so parents will make sure they save up enough money so that their kids can go to college. Yeah.
I see. So, but okay. So I guess if I were to rephrase the question, do like in Ontario, whether it's financial assistance from a bank or your parents, people need help. They need help, and it sounds like it's the same in Korea. Like the students need help, obviously, like a big chunk of
absolutely.
Help.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
But most of it will come from parents, and then maybe the parents will take out a loan for their kids if they don't have enough money. It's stuff like that. Yeah,
I see. Wow, that's great. So I mean, like in Ontario, and again, it's like education in Canada. It's like a provincial jurisdiction thing. So yeah, the way I remember in Ontario, it's called OSAP, OSAP, Ontario something
student assistance
program. That's exactly it. I think that's exactly it. Exactly. Good job. And it was one of those things where I remember like in grade 12 or your 5th year, I had to apply. Like I definitely had to apply. And it was I don't remember the minute details, but basically the gist of it is I think you log on, you apply to like you go to this website and then you have to punch in your parents' income, I think. And you have to get some information from their like CRA forms.
Yeah.
So, like, do you live with your mom and a dad? If you do, how much income do they make last year? And I think it's tiered based upon how much your parents make. So if your parents make this much, then you're eligible for this much. And I think it's like the more that your parents make, and I could be wrong here, but I think the more that your parents make, the less that you are entitled to get. And I remember talking to like friends in high school that tier level was at the time. I remember talking to some students and they said that it wasn't like fair in the sense of like if your parents make, maybe it wasn't a tier, maybe it was binary, but it's like if your parents made a certain income that really wasn't a lot, the government thought that was more than enough, and they're like, no, you're not going to be eligible for a lot. So I think it kind of screwed some students over. So I think like if you're in that wide middle income range, if your parents made like middle income earnings or whatever, the government was like, no, you're not going to get nearly as much. So I remember some students not getting too much.
What happens if like the rich parents, let's say very wealthy parents, are not willing to give any money to like their kids to go to university? Then can they still say like, well, I think
it's just like if you live with your parents and they are your parents and they provide for you, and then they claimed $1 million on their income, you're not eligible.
Really?
Whether that parent gives you the money, I think through that particular, and again, it could be totally wrong, but from what I understand, through OSAP application, last year your household was $1 million, therefore you are not eligible for any assistance program. Maybe some other programs you can, but I think the bulk of it is not. Yeah. So
I see.
Yeah. So I definitely had to go through that, I think, every year. And I think I think co-op, I forget how it works now, but yeah, for first year definitely I had to apply. I had to get all my parent, like my mom or my dad's like income. So I got a bunch of money, and I think you apply every year, and the way it works is you say how much tuition is, and you put in how much living expenses are and how much you need for books, and they ask you to break it down, and then you apply, and then you get, I think most times you got a little bit less than what you applied for, I think.
Okay.
But, and then you get this big paycheck, I think, before, I forget what the timing is, but I remember it's just like, I remember waiting. It's like, oh my God, like I hope that I'm waiting for the day my bank, like I check my bank account and it's just like, so yeah, so that was like a part of my university experience. And then I think in Ontario, it's you get like when you apply for it. And actually, I remember this. So I remember looking into like what are the benefits of getting it through the government versus getting it through from a bank, for example. And the good thing about like OSAP is, first of all, after you graduate, um, I think they defer interest. Sorry, interest doesn't start accruing until I think you graduate. I think so. When you're
Okay.
in school, it's
Yeah.
basically 0%, from what I remember.
Okay. That's good.
Yes, but interest starts accruing once you graduate, but you don't need to make your first payment until 6 months afterwards. But I remember it's like if you don't get a job, you can push that back another 6 months.
I see.
Um,
But interest accrues anyway.
I think
as
interest
soon as you
continues to-
graduate.
I think so. Yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, I think the OSAP, they're very like lenient when it comes to, like I said, like if you say you still haven't found a job, you can continue to kind of push that back. So they're a bit more flexible in that way, which I think was a benefit compared to getting a loan from a bank, for example, I think.
Right.
And I remember when you make student payments, like after you start working, I think a portion of it was tax deductible.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh.
it's something, right? So,
Yeah.
and yeah. So I mean, I know for me, if it wasn't through the government, I would have had to get something from a bank. So I mean, yeah.
But in terms of interest rate, is it competitive, would you say, with the bank?
You know, I never looked. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't remember, but I remember it not being too cheap.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was prime plus like 5. Like it was something. It was quite high, if I'm not mistaken. Like it wasn't cheap, and but yeah, I don't remember. I never looked into getting it from a bank. Maybe I should have, but no, I don't remember it being particularly cheap.
Yeah, that sounds like this like American student loan, like 7%. When I heard 7%, I'm like, get out of here! What's 7%?
That's a lot.
That's fucking nuts.
That's a lot.
Then,
yeah.
But then you're saying prime plus 5. That sounds
Maybe it was
like
prime
7.
plus. Yeah, it was high. Yeah. I mean, I'd have to go back and check, but like, it wasn't cheap, mind you. I think a couple of years, like when we were in school, interest like overnight rate was much higher than what it is now.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You know, so yeah, man, it was it's fortunately it's just like a way, like it is a norm, like, you know what I mean? Like post-secondary has become like very, very expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know, how's your sister making out with, like, I mean, when you talk to your sister, or actually let me ask you this, if you were thinking of going to business school or law school, and like, you know, knowing how much tuition is, how much would that play a factor in your decision, and how much did it play a factor in your sister's decision to go to law school?
Right. So I think for Koreans, you know, we had this American dream, like you go to a good school, and she did go to a good school, really good school. I think, what was it? George Washington Law School was ranked like number 12 in US. Yeah. So that, I think it was legit. So we're like, she got in. Obviously, she needs to go. Like, we're not even thinking about how much this thing's gonna cost, right?
Yeah.
So I think we could have been a little bit smarter in terms of like earning potential and such. But then she also picked the George Washington because it's East Coast and strategically well placed in terms of where she's gonna get the job. So, and then she was gonna go to the school and then go to New York, pass the bar, and become a lawyer in New York, which really increases her earning potential. So she did pass the bar in New York, but then she didn't stay in New York to work. So it kind of like that. But according to the plan, I think it would have been okay. It was a I think a realistic goal for someone to have. So I mean, but you know, life happens and different things happen. You make different choices, and it is what it is. So I think it's like, it depends. If someone's like really ambitious and they're like, they have the drive to do it, and you know, like, do it, why not? But then you might end up with this humongous mortgage at a very high rate.
Yeah.
Like,
and the thing, like, and it's like it's another mortgage. Like that's a lot of
Yeah.
money. And then and like, so yeah, so for you, like, I mean, have you thought of ever, like, you thought of, you applied for masters and all that stuff.
I have. Yes, at
So I mean,
Waterloo.
so did like the cost of it ever play a factor into your decision, or like walk me through that?
Yes, so I think I kind of saw what happened to my sister, and then I was like, huh, okay, maybe maybe I was like, maybe I need to chill,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
play this out a little bit. Go work a couple of years and see how you feel,
yeah,
and then like we were not wealthy or anything through school.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, even though my dad paid for my tuition, but I think like living expense and we all did co-op. And but I remember, like, for as an international student, my tuition was ridiculously
Oh, it
high.
was almost triple
15,000.
tuition. It was insane.
Yeah, it started at 10 grand ish
Per
per
semester.
semester.
Per
And then,
semester.
yeah, by the time I graduated, it was 15 grand
Yeah,
per semester.
which
So it
is
was like, yeah, a lot.
crazy.
Yeah. So thanks to my dad. But anyway, um, so yeah, but then after we graduated, we started having some disposable income. Then I
Sure,
was like, oh, this is great. This is what it feels like to have your own money.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then one thing after another is like, oh, I got bills now.
yeah,
How am I gonna go to school? I have bills.
yeah,
So
yeah.
then it kind of went away.
Mm. So hold on.
Yeah.
Does that mean, like, because you apply, you seriously were thinking about doing it? So does that mean
Yeah.
the finance, like, how much is master's program at Waterloo as an international student?
Oh, it was a I think about the same or a little more, actually.
Oh shit! And it's like one
Yeah.
year, 2 year.
2 years.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so because you didn't go through with it, was the main reason why you decided not to go the cost?
I think it's half and half. One, the money fact. The other part was like, in our previous episode, we talked about our university experience, and I was
Yeah.
like, I think I'm okay not doing this for a few years, and then you just get dumber and dumber.
Yeah.
And now I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. My brain's like not willing to absorb such like new knowledge
Yeah.
that quickly, and
Yeah.
like, I got soft. I think that's
Yeah.
what happened.
For sure. And the thing is, like you
Yeah.
said, you have disposable income, you have time now. A lot of that stuff goes away once you're a student.
Yeah, I
So
guess so.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I like, I've been thinking about business school for the longest time, right? And
Right.
like that always played, like if I were to make a pro con list, the cost is always just such a big con. Like depending on where you, like, even in Canada, right? Like it's like tuition itself is like 100 grand, and like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of money, and it's the other thing that, like sure, like, the earning potential and all that stuff, but the thing that's kind of turned me off, like another thing that's kind of been added to the cons list for me, is like I like, through my current rotation program at work, like my boss, she oversees the new MBA, like I don't know what they're called, but like new, like fresh MBA grads.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
so she oversees like part of that program.
Yeah.
And like I know how much, like, I know what the salary bands are, and it's just like they're coming in like below me now, like you know what I mean, like it's not a it's not a high salary.
Yeah.
So it's just like, unless you're using it to switch industries, which is fine, but even still, like, that's a big cost to come in at like a starting point that Italy isn't that high. Like, I don't know, like it
Yeah.
turned me off of it a little bit. So obviously, like, some people use the MBA to, like, as I said, switch industries, of which, and it makes sense that you come in at a certain range or whatever. But yeah, man, like, you spend a year or two away from work, spend $150,000 that I would personally need to, like, I don't have $150,000 sitting around to go to school and come back with that around, like hanging around you. And then the other thing, and I've had this discussion before, is like where I am in my life, over the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, there's probably going to be a lot of change, marriage, potentially,
Mm.
mortgage. So to do all of that while having this extra $150,000 debt, like that's a lot. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah. How would you have financed if you would have gone to MBA school?
So I have some savings, but I
Mhm.
would have to go to like a bank. Like there's
Mm.
no like, and the thing is, it's like, I think from what I understand, because I've looked into it, banks are very, like if you say you're going to an MBA, like student loan, and like if you go to a certain school, like they'll give you competitive rates and stuff like that, because it's like it's not like a business, like, you know what I mean? It's like the
Yeah,
bank
yeah,
knows that like they'll like good chance that they'll get it back and stuff like that. So
right, right, right.
yeah, that's why for me, when I've thought about like potentially going away, like because of the financial cost, I I would have to, like, my reason, I'd have to go to like a big name school, like it,
Mm.
go big or go home. Like you can't, like, kind of like your sister, get into a good school. If you're not getting into a good school, it's not, in my opinion, it's really hard to justify from a financial perspective,
Mm.
the cost. So yeah,
I see.
it's yeah. Go ahead, yeah.
Because I guess if you go into just like mid-level and get the degree, um, what you're saying is like coming back to the industry, your earning potential is not that high. You would have probably gotten the same amount of money if you would have just continued to work.
Yeah, I think
Mm-mm.
okay, so the way I understand is in Canada anyway, right? Like if you look at the salaries, like, because all these schools, like all the Canadian, every MBA school, they'll
Yeah.
say our students, this was their average salary before, and this is their average salary in
Oh.
can yeah, in Canada. I if going into, if you want to make money, a lot of money, like if you're looking at an MBA purely from that perspective, it's hard to justify.
Oh.
Um, just, but the other interesting thing is, with that being said, though, if you look at people who do really really well, they all
Yeah.
tend to have some sort of like an MBA or put like another degree.
Mm.
So whether they would have had it regardless, or like, it's kind of hard to say. But
Mm.
like, for me personally, when I looked at like getting an MBA, I never viewed it as I'm going to get my degree and therefore I'm going to increase my salary by 30, 40. Like I never viewed it that way. It was more like just learning more stuff, maybe switching industries, moving to another country. Like I was kind of looking at it with those kind of things in mind, and not so much like a salary. Because I think if you look at it like again in Canada, I think this is different. Like if you go to the States, if you get into like Harvard Business School or like Stanford MBA, like
Yeah,
first of all,
yeah,
first of all,
yeah.
those are like 200,000, like three hundred
Yeah,
thousand dollars. But you like it's America. Like it's fucking,
yeah,
you'll do more than fine. So
yeah,
um, but yeah, man,
yeah.
it's expensive. So I mean, okay, so let me ask you. So recently, there's been talks um, of student debt forgiveness. Like
Mhm.
there's been talks of this for a long time in the States. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So after learning a little bit more about these different tiers and stuff like that, my reaction was the same. It's like, come on, like you want your citizens to be more educated,
Yeah, yeah,
and that's going to make your country even better
yes,
economically. So maybe it is a good idea to uh, like get rid of some of these student debt because it's out of control, and you can't even go bankrupt and it's like declare bankruptcy and like,
That's right.
so
Yeah,
it's like and there are people who's just still paying off these student loan years and years, like into their deep like middle age. They're still
yeah,
paying off their student debt, which
of
is nuts.
course. Yeah, that's
It just seems
crazy.
nuts. Yeah,
Like you're in debt forever. Like that's the other
exactly.
thing. It's like I hated being like, my student loans were nowhere near, like it was like 30 grand, which is like not a, like it's a lot of money, but it's not like,
Yeah,
it's not fucking 300 grand, right? And I
yeah,
remember thinking like, when I was paying it off, like it sucks. Like I just
yeah,
didn't like having it. So the thought of having hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt,
yeah,
of just student debt, not mortgage,
yeah.
not anything else, like that's that sucks.
Indeed. How
Yeah.
long did it take you to pay off your student loan?
uh a couple of years. Like I remember at the
Okay.
start of it, I was very aggressive. So I finished
Mm,
school and I
yeah.
got my job, and I remember like it was a big priority for me.
Okay.
I was living at home, which helped with the cost, but like a good percentage of my paycheck, I was just trying to like just hammer away
Mm,
at my student loans. And then after a while, I don't know how long, but after a while, I remember just getting tired of it. Like
mm,
I had no money, like I had no disposable income. Like I was like I
mm,
felt like I was living this like broke ass student life. I got a
mm,
job, and like everything like I got like I was putting towards my student loan, which is nice
mm.
because you start seeing that number come down. But then after a while, I was like, it'd be nice to like buy things. You know, it'd be nice to just have that flexibility. Not to say that I
Yeah.
wasn't having fun or like, going beyond my means. I definitely was in many ways, but
Mm,
like, so I was very aggressive at the start,
mm,
and then I did like I took my foot off the gas for a little
I see.
for a long time. Yeah, which
Mm,
I think it was just because like I was like, it'd be nice to see the income come in and like have it stay there, at least a little bit stay there, instead of like
yeah.
come in and go straight out. So
Yeah.
um yeah, it took a couple of years, but it was nice when it was like, okay, like it's no more. Like it's very
Yeah.
nice to have like you don't have to spend it at you know it, but yeah, man, it definitely sucks. And I think it puts you behind the like it puts you behind the like kind of behind, just because like it you come out of school and you're starting in the negatives, like it's
Right, right, right.
so
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. So I mean, do you think so like do you think, you mean in Canada, like we should like, do you think could it's become an issue? Like in the States it's obviously an issue because it's so
Yeah, yeah,
high,
yeah. Yeah.
but what about like Canadian tuition?
I think Canadian tuition's going up. And so, like recently, at work, whenever there are like these new grads come in, like start their job, I would ask them like, "Oh, like what did you graduate from?" And then they'll be like, "Oh, the computer science or like software engineering, whatever." Right? So then I was like, "Oh, by the way, like how much is tuition?" And then they were saying like it's close to 10,000 per, like it's that expensive now. It's like 8,000, 9,000 per semester for Canadians, just Canadian students. So I
Wow.
think the tuition is going up, and I'm like, wow. I remember because ours started around like 3,500 and then went up to like 5,000 for regular students, right?
No,
Per
regular
semester.
students, the first semester was like $5,000, fifty
Oh,
five
five
hundred
thousand.
dollars
Oh, I
for
see, I
per
see, I see.
semester. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I see. But
But
by
we
the
were in,
end of you,
yeah,
we were graduating. What was it?
seven
Same?
and a half, 7.5.
Oh shit! So it did go up quite a bit. So it
Yeah,
makes
yeah, yeah.
sense now that it's like probably close to 10,000.
And we were in an expensive program, so we like our
Right.
tuition was higher than everyone else's.
Like English major
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
like which
Even
was
comp
much cheaper.
sci was
Really?
cheaper. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh,
Engineering tuition at Waterloo anyway.
yeah,
AFM was
yeah.
really high, and
Okay.
then it was like engineering, and then it was like a bunch of others. So if
Uh,
you're telling me that like CS students are paying like 8 grand or whatever,
yeah,
like that's a lot of money.
that is a lot of money. Now we're talking like 50 grand and stuff
Yeah,
like that by the time they graduate. So it's like, oh man.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
they need living expenses
yeah,
too
yeah,
on
yeah,
top
yeah.
of it. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Do you think like I mean, do you think universities should be like tuition should be like free? Like
Completely like Germany
yeah, or like a bunch of other European countries?
or Sweden. Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
so.
I think so too. If someone wants to do it, let them do it.
Yeah, I think it should be like based on like your capability, obviously, right?
Yeah,
Like the financial situation shouldn't hinder you from you wanting to pursue further education.
yeah.
And like
I
also,
agree.
yeah, and also just economically, like coming out of school with a bunch of debt prolongs people's ability to like buy houses and like get married and all that, which just kind of delays them kind of contributing back to the economy
Mhm.
even more. So I think even for the betterment of society as a whole, like having students graduate and then start saving right away and not having to pay is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like, so I mean, I need to go back to your sister. Like I've never met her. I'm sure she's a lovely lady. I know she's a lovely lady, but I would imagine, I'm assuming she's still paying that off.
Mm-hmm.
She's been graduated for
Still
how many
has it.
years now? How many years she's been done from school for?
I think 6-7 years. Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, she's probably gonna pay for it for a while.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you think it, like, I mean, it has to get in the way of you potentially getting a mortgage and stuff, at least in Canada, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would think so. Because like it would show up in your credit bureau. Yeah. So.
And it's 7%.
Yeah, it's a lot. We just need Joe Biden to just sign an executive order and just
like
get rid of it.
7% annualized. Like, what's the daily accrual on that? I don't know what that is, but like that's high.
Like per DM? Oh God.
Yeah, and like you
It's
make
a
those
lot.
monthly payments. Like a big chunk of that is probably just interest. Like you're probably barely making a dent in the actual principal.
Yeah. Okay. So currently the interest rate in Canada is quite low just because of pandemic and etc. Right? Because states still want the economy to work. So I renewed my mortgage. The rate went from 2.69 to 1.49.
Oh wow.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Both fixed. So I was like, oh, you know what? My monthly payment must go down quite a bit.
Yeah.
No. The interest is still like, what the? There's still so much interest. Like I pay like $50 less per month.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I thought I was getting pretty good discount here, but it's amortization and all that, and then it's a long period, and you don't really, you still pay a lot of freaking interest.
Yes. Fuck.
Yeah.
So okay, so let me ask you this then. Sorry, like, assume like when it comes to your kids, is going to be is saving for their education going to be a big priority for you, or like where's your head at with that?
I should move to Europe. That's what you were gonna go to. Hold on, England. Is it England? You have to pay, right? Even if you're a citizen.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I think it's much. Actually, I have no idea.
Much lower.
MBA programs are very expensive there. Not as expensive as
US,
United States, but still very expensive. Yeah.
I see.
So, I mean, like, we're joking, but are you joking? Like, are you gonna go to...
I don't know. So like, as a Korean, we all like, we thought America is the best, so we must go to America. I never even thought of like Europe or any other, or South Asia. I bet South Asia is cheap. I assume. I don't know.
Where in South Asia? It depends, I guess.
I guess, but there's so many like doctors and so many well-educated people in like Singapore, Bangladesh, and all these places, which I never thought of. But if my kids want to go, like, I'll be down. Like, okay, maybe you go check out Germany.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. But let's say they want to stay in Canada. Let's say they want to go to school in the United States.
It better be like, you better get some, I don't know, scholarship, something. Then I'll try to support them if they.
Yeah.
I
think, like, in Canada, like, there's all these like government programs to like where they'll match, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing for sure. Like, my parents helped me out like for first year.
Yeah.
But like, which is great. Like, they helped me out so much. But like, then I had to take OSAP and like a bunch of money, right? I had to apply for bursaries and all that shit, and then plus OSAP that we talked about. Like, so coming out of school and not having that debt would have been really good. Like, it would have saved me many years of like saving for a mortgage or like saving for all this kind of crap.
Yeah.
So I think for me, definitely, it's like it's going to be a priority for me if and when I ever have kids to like start saving money. And it might not be able to pay for everything, but at least to help them
some
just
of it. Yeah.
help at least however much I can, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess say like if we support them 2 years, let's say 2 years, all of it, they could potentially work a little bit during those 2 years
Sure, yeah. And it's still 2 years is
to
better
start
than like,
saving up.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like having 2 years worth of debt is better than having 4 years worth of debt. Like,
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's
And
true.
sorry, you know what the other thing that you had mentioned at the beginning of this, you were saying like the American, like your sister, she got into like a top 10 school.
Yeah,
Forget everything, just go. Like if you got accepted,
yeah,
you go. You know
yeah.
what's so funny about that? I have the exact same mindset. It's like I remember thinking when I was like, if I were to apply and I got into like a big name business school,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even think about the debt. I would just go. I would be like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like I don't even care. I would go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, I don't know if that's smart, but
But the thing is, like, it's she had this ambition, and it was a like it's not like we had this ambition and we weren't as ambitious. Like I was more like, I'm just gonna go to Canada and then go to the engineering school and I'll get a job.
best
And
engineering school. Yeah.
yeah. But like she really had this like, I'm gonna go if I can, I'm gonna go to Ivy League like school, and I'm gonna like, I'm gonna do this thing and I'm gonna be great. And I'll be like, that's fuck yeah. You got the right mindset, and you're really excelling and really putting yourself out there, right? Um, and whatever happens after, it is what it is. Like, but she did try and she did go, so I admire for that. But if you didn't like it coming out of it and you don't want to do it anymore, that's the person's choice. But then
Yeah,
she would have never known unless she would have went.
for sure.
I think that's the way I see it.
For sure.
It's a pretty steep price to pay, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And along the mindset, I agree with you. It's like let's say tuition costs 150, even $300,000. Like
Yeah.
it's good life experience. You'll pay it off
Oh, yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
It's like you're educated, you're earning potential, you'll earn a lot of money,
Yeah.
status,
Oh, yes.
personal, like I set out a goal and I conquered it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it does come at a
Some costs, yeah. And I'm sure you would have met, you could also meet some lady who's got a lot of money in Britain who will just pay. Who knows? Who knows? Leave the options open. Who knows?
That's true.
I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah,
Fuck.
I don't know. Maybe my sister would have met some, I don't know, like a partner at a firm. That could have worked out too. Who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows?
yeah.
Who knows?
I
Who
bet
knows?
your sister had a lot of good, like, kind of like us we were talking about last week or whatever. Like, school was hard, it was expensive, but it was a good time in your life.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure it's the same for her.
Yeah. I mean, it's like at the end of the day, I think it would be something if you would have gone, whatever the outcome would have been. I'm sure you would have kicked ass. And I think you would have been like Yusuf earning $300,000 coming out of business school. I think so. Because like, I think there's some difference. Like my sister is like she once she knows what she wants to do, she just does it. Like she's not as much like, oh, this was my plan, so maybe I should just do it for 2 years and pay it off and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah,
she's more like, I don't like it, and then like, fuck off. So not as like but she's very happy because of that perspective she has of her life. She's like, I'm gonna do what makes me happy. I'm not wasting these fucking 3 years working like a dog so that I can pay this off. But I'm just gonna pay it off in maybe like 20 years, but I'm gonna live the way I want. So it's like she probably weighed the options and then made a decision. But I think for you whenever you have plans, I think you kind of execute them pretty well. So I would.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. I think it would have gone really well. I think so.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what life has in store for us. And would you ever go? Like, I'm sorry. You're never going back to school in any way? Like,
no. Oh my gosh. So I did think about this before because of this topic. I thought like if like our post-secondary education was free, I would love to take some physiology and oh, I did look at some like
Kinesiology or something.
kinesiology and anatomy, human anatomy,
Oh,
like all this stuff. Like I wanted to take, and I looked at it's not that much. It's like $1,000.
per
So I
course.
should, yeah, per course, because I looked at Ryerson continuing education
Oh yeah.
stuff. Yeah. So maybe I should just take it. It's not that much anyway.
No, and like do it part time,
Yeah.
and it's like it over. I'm assuming it's because of fitness, like body related. Like that's
Yeah,
like I'm
yeah, yeah,
assuming that's
yeah.
what,
I
like,
just
oh yeah,
wanted
that'd
to
be
learn.
great.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
when I watch people on YouTube fitness stuff,
Yeah.
having that background really adds to their credibility
Yeah.
for whatever it's worth. Like
Yeah.
I feel like when I watch some people on YouTube and then it's like, oh, this person has a degree in kinesiology, and like
Yeah.
it adds, whether it's true, I don't know, but it's just like it adds a layer of credibility to what they say. Whether
Yeah.
it's true, I have no fucking clue. But
Compared to some bro science, like bro, if you take 200
exactly,
grams of
exactly.
this pre-workout, bro,
Exactly.
oh, you get the jolt. You can probably get the pump of your life, bro.
Exactly.
Versus it's like, yes, this chemical NaCl is coursing through your bloodstream, which really emphasizes the pump. Yeah. Yeah, just like that. I was like, oh, this person knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. Fuck, that'd be a good idea. Just take one course at a time.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I will learn French first. That's what I'll do.
How's that coming along? You've been learning French for a while.
Yes, I can talk like a baby, which is great.
Well, that you got to start somewhere. So I mean, that's good.
Oh yeah. I love technology nowadays. It's just so easy to find like a tutor or anything online.
Are you using a tutor? I thought you were using the app.
I was, and then I finished the app, and and then I was like, oh, okay. Now I think I know a little bit of French. It would be good for me to actually get a tutor so that like I can like try to talk in French, actually learn grammar. I hate grammar. So like it was all through almost like I listened to other people speak or like watch French TV shows, and I just try to like piece things together. I think there is a pattern. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So and then getting a tutor was much more helpful because it actually put some structure into my learning.
Oh, okay.
So I think I learned faster. Definitely.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I've never heard you speak French, so one day I'd love to hear you speak French.
You'll be like, what is this? What?
Oh, I don't know any French, so I mean, you could be saying gibberish for all I know. I'll be like, oh, that's very nice. Yeah. You can have a conversation with Jenny.
I'll just speak English probably. She'll be like, what are you doing? Just speak English. What I don't understand the words coming out of your mouth.
Oh, that'd be harsh, but all right, man.
All right.
Yeah. Was there anything else that you wanted to let's look at here. Is there anything else?
No. But I'm sure we'll chat about this again once we have kids, and we're like, because there are like savings plan for your children's education, right?
Yes.
Is that like tax deductible? Is that why?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
The big one is what's called like an RESP, Registered Education Savings Plan or something like that. And I think it's beneficial in a few ways. I think the biggest way that I could think of is for every $1 that you put in, the government will also put in like $1. Up to a certain point. Like the max life contribution is like it's not small, but it's not that big. Okay. And I think it might be tax deductible. So and I think the earnings that you make, like any earnings within the RESP for your kids are I think they grow tax free.
Really?
So,
okay.
So for if you got a couple kids, and it's just kids are expensive, eh?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice they just come out of womb and start working at McDonald's right away?
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? Fuck labor laws. Get the kids working. Teach them what the real life is like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that dude's in shorts. Sorry.
Oh, really?
Okay,
It's
not
it's.
that.
I don't think it's that warm.
It's not that
today,
warm. I want to.
but next week, ooh,
Is it
Wednesday,
nice next week?
Thursday, it's like 14 degrees, man.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
We're almost getting there, man. Almost.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
my man. Should
All
we
right.
leave it there?
Yep. Good chat.
Good chat. I'll talk to you next week.
Later.
Bye.